Good morning, everybody. I wish you um, a great waking up and rising. So rise and shine. Some of us, all we need is understanding. I believe I am one of those persons. My first nature is philosopher, so I look for understanding. And when we go through a certain experience, like a rapid change in our life, when things get worse and worse and worse and worse, and the suffering increases until all hell breaks loose. Um, it's like when you're snowboarding and an avalanche is just being happening all around you, and in this moment you can't hold on to things. If you hold on to anything, you're done. If you if you hold on just to think what is happening, you're done. This means you don't have the time to make sense of what is happening, you're just reacting and letting go. This is a crazy experience. A lot of people might resonate with that. You know, when you think 2 days ago you thought I will never let this one go, and then you let it go, and then you let the next thing go, and it really you get good. You get good at letting things go, and it's a crazy experience because when we are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, um, we tend to not have rapid changes in our life anymore. As a child, as a young man or child, we have changes all the time. We go to kindergarten, we go to school, we have we learn to drive, we have always testimonies, we always have changes. We go to maybe whatever we do, hobbies, and we have contests and this and that and that and that. We are questioned, we are confronted with new situations all the time. We have to adapt and change and this. But when you're 30 or 40, the rapid changes we are not accustomed to it anymore, all right? We don't want to be humble anymore. We don't want to begin from scratch anymore, and so on. Now, we need understanding. Some people just need understanding, and I'm one of those. This is why I said it can be overwhelming, the healing work, because all in a sudden, when you have the avalanche and the chaos um, behind you, you still suffer from it because you're still bleeding and you did not understand what happened. You did not have the time to make sense of it. Now you're puzzled and you need to puzzle everything together, okay? And in my case, and maybe it resonates with you too, when you've been in toxic relationship, triangulation, dysfunctional family unit, idealization, shared fantasy, manipulative people around you, um, you will not have had an understanding for what was happening. Otherwise, it would not have happened, right? So you then retrospectively work on understanding people who are fundamentally different than you. This means you basically go through their trauma because then everything makes sense what they do and why they do, right? So, and then you start to think about your own childhood because typically, this is well known, when you're exposed to um, things like destructive narcissism, your own trauma will also surface. Okay? So these people are on a fight and flight mode. They have their own condition, and this um, will also trigger related or similar things in yourself. And then you're overwhelmed because you still have ongoing damage, even though you're in peace now, you're out, you cut the contact, your life brutally changed, but you're still going through it because there is this ongoing bleeding. I call it bleeding damage over time. Then you start to unlock the backgrounds of your abusers. At the same time, you do the same for yourself. You do the same, you understand your own childhood. Why have you been in this position? Why did you attract these people? And so on. So, for a lot of people, the understanding helps, okay? Um, so, why do I say this? So, for me, another small game changer was to understand that there is no bad object in my life. Okay. Um, the bad object is something that is being given to it's the thing that is being given through generations from narcissist to narcissist. Okay. So let me explain a few terms. So this is from Sam Vaknin and Richard Grannon. Probably I watched these um, narcissist specialists on YouTube. Mm, but don't take me for scientific or anything. I just want to support you on your journey. So if it resonates, it resonates. Okay. See, Sam Vaknin often speaks of, in terms of, in relation to narcissism, of the dead mother. What is the dead mother? The dead mother means a mother that is not empathetic, that has no genuine connection to the child, and thus rejects or idealizes the child and cannot give the child the unconditional love that the child needs to develop in the right way. And then there is the bad object. So there is the dead mother and the bad object, and the bad object is actually when parents, whether mothers or fathers, repeatedly treat the children in a bad way, which means they blame the child for everything. So the child is always the problem. They reject the child, or they idealize the child, or they make these family roles of golden child and scapegoat or invisible child, helper child, and projecting their own shared fantasy on the child, reverse the roles of parenting, which means the children have to validate their shared fantasy, and so on. But basically, the bad object is the voice of the parent, humiliating the child, okay, telling the child something repeatedly that is pathological. So this means the child does not have the ability to reject the voice, and it means it introjects the voice. It means it stays there probably forever. And we need to have a basic understanding for what Samvaknin means with dead mother, which means, the child idealizes the mother. This is normal, and it idealizes both parents, which is normal and healthy. But um, it also will feel intuitively that something is wrong if it does not get what it needs, okay? And also, you need to understand the introjection of bad object in people. So, this explains why some people have a kind of hidden self hate. So, okay, you need to understand there is people, they suffered from a dead mother. So the mother was there, but at the same time it was not there, and this is a brutal curse. Okay. And at this, and you also need to understand there's people who have introjected a voice that is doubting them, that is humiliating them, that is telling them all the time they can't do it, they are bad. They are bad. And this is the voice of the parents that they have introjected. Okay? And this can be given on to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. When you always be on war, when you always fight, when you always enforce, because then you give on the negativity, the introject, the blaming, the victim blaming. You know, children are naturally dependent of you as a parent and naturally idealize you. This is so vulnerable and this is so wonderful. But this is why narcissists really can't parent, so to say. I mean, they do their best, don't get me wrong. They do their best, but they can't do better than that, okay? Whatever they do. And now, just you need to understand these dynamics and to support the children and yourself when you're in this situation that you parent children who have been exposed or who are exposed to this family cult that is, having this shared fantasy, using the children to validate the fantasy, even sexual fantasies of the parent of this unit, the people who live there, and are living in a traumatizing environment with traumatized people, all under the veil, all under the shared fantasy of a healed world. So everything is fine, everything is good. This is the pretense, this is the eternal fantasy of the narcissist. This is the elephant in the room that nobody is allowed to see or to speak about. So the kids feel there's something wrong. They might feel dead mother. They might see there is a traumatized grown-up person that has been traumatizing everybody around. But now everything is good. Everybody pretends it's all fine. We now, this is the narcissistic way of moving on. A narcissist needs 3 seconds. No, some Wagner said on a good day, a narcissist needs 5 seconds to move on from you when they made in their mind, they discard you now. Okay? So, the children living there, yes, there will be the roles of parenting reversed, yes. There will be bad role models. They have no moral core. They have not the same cultural awareness of how sexuality should be teach to children. What is a good role model in terms of femininity, masculinity, sexuality, and so on. It's all not there. It's weird, twisted, and also it can even go to the degree that narcissists developed malicious envy against you, and because they could not destroy you and humiliate you, the whole shame has fallen back on them, the toxic shame they try to project outwards, and now they keep the children hostage, and now they can hurt the children, and this is the only way they can hurt you. This is all things to consider, but I want now to come to my point of this video. You can't do anything about it. The narcissist does his best. They can't be different. You have only influence of yourself. And this means the self-pruning It means you might have had the hero mindset and you wanted to save everybody. It's not gonna happen. It's not possible. Elon Musk has a lot of kids, but I don't think he spends a lot of time with any one of them. Okay, so whatever you do better than that. And um, self pruning means you need to get from this heroic mindset to a warrior mindset, which is simply realistic. Um, See, narcissism is very protected in our society, especially if the mother is supporting this. If the mother lives within the shared fantasy and supports it and defends it, because, see, mothers are protected in the law. They are, you know, suffering from patriarchy. The men are the stronger ones, so their mothers need to special protection, and this is something why they are specially protected. And also, narcissism can always hide behind the capitalistic competitive system we live in. So they say, I'm unempathetic and self absorbed. Well, yes, this is how we're supposed to be. I have no moral core. Well, yes, this is how we learn to live. We must take care of ourselves. That's just what we do. Um, yeah, they can hide behind the highly competitive society we already have. We have narcissistic traits are often rewarded, and this means just let this. You have only influence of yourself, and you can create another environment for your kids, and you can be the role model. I believe we must teach our kids by example, not by forcing the kids to fulfill an image that we can't um, replicate ourselves. Um, we also can, in this environment, of course, show the kids unconditional love, disregarding whatever we see in them. If we see the same traits as in the other parent that is probably has narcissistic traits, I already said it in another video. Every child goes through a narcissistic phase. You went through it, I went through it, everybody has this. All right. And you have decided to have these children with this person. You did not know better. Now you know better. Now do your best, whatever you can, but you need to reduce this idea of being heroic and saving everyone. It's not possible. And the next step is individuation. You individuate from the infantile state of relationship that you had to the narcissist. Okay, it is an infantile way of having a relationship to a narcissist always, but I can't go into detail here. It has to do with the shared fantasy that you know they parent each other. Okay, so there is from Sam Wagnin also the dual mothership model and others, but I can't go in detail. I just can tell you, when you get out of this relationship, you cut it, all ties, and you individuate according to Carl Jung's psychology. It simply means you stand independent for yourself and develop all abilities that you need, both in mentally, physically, and spiritually, to be completely a unit that does not need any parenting anymore. So you individuate, okay? You do shadow work, whatever. And the next step of individuation, to get to the point now, is you need to individuate from your children. And this means you want your children to individuate from you gradually, slowly. As they grow up, they learn that you are not that God that they thought you are because they idealize you as a parent. And at the same time, you transfer this godhood to your children because you teach them all abilities they need to stand up for themselves. This means they individuate. But you also need to let them by individuating yourself from them. Make sense? It means don't hold on to your children, but support them, accompany them, never reject them, and don't idealize them. Find a way in between. Unconditional love, one love. This is message for today. Was very long message. Take care, and you can do it. You just need a warrior mindset, and don't suffer for things you can't influence. Yes, your children will soak up the toxicity. Yes, the bad object will be projected on them. Yes, the dead mother will traumatize them. Yes, all these things might happen. Whatever you think of might happen, can happen, but it's not your business or responsibility. You make something different. That's not you. One love.